You can start, sir.
Good evening, everybody. I have to thank Lupin Oncology for giving me this opportunity to reach out to all of you. Today, we are here to discuss regarding our focus on oral therapies during this COVID pandemic for better patient compliance with a special perspective on Tegafur Uracil. My name is Dr. Vivek Agarwala. I am a consultant medical oncologist at Narayana Super Speciality Hospital at Kolkata, and I will start my presentation. So, we will first look at the COVID situation and the current focus on the oral drugs and safety, and then we will move on to see why we are discussing Tegafur Uracil now. We will review regarding the evidence on Tegafur Uracil in different situations like adjuvant therapy in colorectal cancer, concurrent chemoradiation in colorectal cancer, palliative chemotherapy in colorectal cancer, as well as the role of Tegafur Uracil in other cancers than colorectal cancer. And then we'll look at what are the guidelines suggesting regarding Tegafur Uracil, and then we'll summarize. So currently, the whole focus during this COVID pandemic is on patient safety. And to bring to your attention, there was a report from China that patients with cancer are at a higher risk of infection with coronavirus than the general population. 1% incidence among cancer patients against 0.29% in the general population. Further, there is increased risk of severe respiratory complications requiring time in the ICU in the cancer patients, 39% chance rather than 8% in normal population. And also patients with cancer deteriorated more rapidly than those without cancer. So the median time to deterioration in the cancer patients was 13 days against 43 days in the patients without cancer. So in this pandemic situation, given the susceptibility of patients with cancer to the COVID infection, several guidelines have suggested modification in practice. And these are the French guidelines which say that all measures should be taken to enable the patients to be managed with cancer at home. And it includes telemedicine and phone calls to replace safety visits, as well as replacement of IV drugs with oral drugs. These are again the NICE guidelines from UK, and these NICE guidelines also suggest switching intravenous treatments to subcutaneous or oral alternatives where this would be beneficial. The ESMO and the ASCO recommendation are also same. They suggest to discuss with the patients the options of regimens and schedules that reduce the number of hospital visits during the pandemic. That is, to try and schedule patients 3 weekly or 2 weekly as against weekly, and to give more importance to oral or subcutaneous alternatives as opposed to intravenous administration. Now, this slide is from a JCO publication, which is more focusing on the practices which are modified in the GI oncology in the face of COVID-19 infection, and what is the recommendation from the experts around the world. And you can see that they have suggested to discontinue 5-FU infusions, and they are in favor of changing to oral capecitabine wherever possible. In localized rectum, what they have suggested is to give preference to Capox over Folfox. In localized colon cancer, in the adjuvant chemotherapy, they are suggesting to follow 3 months of Capox instead of Folfox by the IDEA recommendation. And wherever we are starting new adjuvant treatment, they have suggested to consider stopping early, that is at 3 months, and switching to capecitabine or 5-FU alone for the remainder. They have also suggested that patients who are at low risk, we should discuss the stopping of oxaliplatin and using of capecitabine monotherapy. Similarly, in metastatic colorectal cancer also, they have suggested using monotherapy, preferably capecitabine or capox, with or without the targeted therapies, and to avoid triplet combinations like folfoxiri. And wherever maintenance is desired, they have suggested to use capecitabine alone or with bevacizumab. Similarly, in beyond second-line treatment in metastatic colorectal cancer, they have suggested using oral agents like regorafenib and trifluridine given the low efficacy as well as potential toxicities of IV treatments. And in localized anal cancer also, they have considered for using oral capecitabine instead of infusional 5-FU. So, to summarize, in this COVID pandemic, all the guidelines have stressed on patient safety while optimizing treatment efficacy. And the recommendation is to switch to oral treatments. If the patient is on doublet chemo, to use capecitabine instead of 5-FU leucovorin. And if patients are on single agent 5-FU leucovorin maintenance, to use single agent capecitabine. So what are the other 5-FU alternatives apart from capecitabine? So there is S1, which is not available in India. It is a combination of tegafur plus gimeracil, oteracil and potassium. There is again trifluridine tipiracil, which is again not available in India. And what is available to us other than capecitabine as a 5-FU alternative is tegafur uracil. So what is tegafur uracil? So tegafur is the fluoropyrimidine prodrug and uracil is the DPD inhibitor. And what uracil does is it allows us to use fluoropyrimidine at a lower dose by decreasing the catabolism of 5-FU, by increasing the amount of active residual 5-FU and preserving the 5-FU activity and decreasing the side effects. The usual dose which is recommended is 300 mg per meter square divided in 3 doses with oral leucovorin 30 mg with each dose and to be taken for continuously 28 days for every 35 days. And with this combination, what are the expected response rates is 25% with UFT, which increases to 40% whenever they have combined with leucovorin. Now the question comes to all of us that why are we discussing this molecule UFT in 2020? This molecule was introduced way back in 1980s and it has been in use and early clinical trials were done in the 1990s and 2000s. But there are no guidelines, the standard guidelines that we usually follow which mention this drug as an option. And we already have capecitabine as an oral fluoropyrimidine drug. It is cheap as well as recommended by all the guidelines. So why are we discussing UFT in 2020? Well, the answer is that capecitabine is not holy water. We cannot use capecitabine in renal dysfunction, especially when the creatinine clearance is less than 30 milliliter per minute. And capecitabine may be potentially fatal in certain conditions like DPD mutation, which is 3% homozygous mutation in general population, and even up to 10% heterozygous mutations are reported in general population. There are 3% patients where there may be fatal cardiotoxicity of capecitabine, and in the elderly patients especially, there are more severe adverse events of capecitabine, with those modifications required in almost 30 to 60% of patients reported across trials. And looking at the grade 3, grade 4 toxicities in all patients, there are mostly reported of around 15% grade 3, grade 4 diarrhea, 15% grade 3, grade 4 hand-foot syndrome, and up to 12 to 19% hepatotoxicity, which might require stopping the drug or decreasing the dose of the drug. So capecitabine is quite toxic and may be unmanageable. Now, in a normal situation, and non-COVID situation that we are taking, probably all these toxicities would be manageable. But now, considering a COVID situation, when the access to supportive care is not good, then probably it is a need to worry so far as capecitabine is concerned. And is capecitabine the only standard oral 5-FU alternative? No. When you look at the South Asian countries like China, Korea, Taiwan, and Japan, S1 is probably more commonly used, as 80% of the patients would be using S1 instead of capecitabine as an alternative of 5-FU. So why and whom to give UFT? So as I said, 30% of patients who would have grade 3, grade 4 toxicities to capecitabine would also have poor access to healthcare during the COVID pandemic. And these are those patients who probably need UFT rather than capecitabine. And also this UFT leucovorin is much safer to capecitabine with probable equal efficacy. And so far as the other 5-FU alternatives are concerned, they are not available in India. And how to identify those patients who need UFT? So the DPD mutants, the elderly population, especially more than 65 years of age, those who have renal dysfunction, especially creatinine clearance of less than 45 milliliter per minute, and those who have had cardiotoxicities or who have had grade 3, grade 4 toxicities to capecitabine, there we should consider to switch to UFT. And why is UFT not so frequently used? So we must remember that capecitabine is much cheaper, and when we look at how the drugs have evolved, so both capecitabine and UFT were introduced as an alternative to IV5-FU quite long back in the 1990s. But as we know that UFT is not available in US, and that is the reason why you don't have this tegaforuracil, that is UFT, mentioned in any of the US guidelines. Now, when you look at the trials that have developed across the world, because it is not available in US, most of the trials didn't focus on UFT and they instead focused on capecitabine. And that is the reason why UFT was unlucky to not have a similar chance as capecitabine to be replaced by 5-FU. So that is why probably UFT is not utilized to its potential. So from here we can summarize that UFT is a valid option, an alternative to capecitabine, especially in the COVID pandemic in the high-risk patients. Now we will go ahead and look at the existing evidence of comparable efficacy and safety of tegaforuracil in colorectal cancers. So coming to tegaforuracil and leucovorin combination in adjuvant setting, so this is one of the earlier trials of NSABP protocol C06 where tegaforuracil was compared with intravenous 5-FU leucovorin in stage 2 and stage 3 colon cancers as an adjuvant treatment. So the primary aim in this study was to see whether PFS and OS was similar in both the arms after primary surgery for colon cancer. So between February 1997 to March 1919, almost 1600 patients of stage 2 and 3 colon cancers were recruited and randomized to these two arms. The regimen for 5-FU leucovorin was a weekly regimen of bolus doses used in 6 weeks out of the 8 weeks, whereas tegaforuracil was used at the standard dose for 5 cycles, that is for 25 weeks. And looking at the primary endpoint, that is overall survival, what we could see here was that the estimated hazard ratio of overall survival for both these arms was similar, that is 1.014, and there was no difference between the two arms.
Ananta?
Yes, sir. Please continue.
Yeah. So, sorry, there was a glitch in the connection. So, we'll restart with the results of the NSA BPC-06 study. So, this is the study schema with stage 2 and stage 3 colorectal patients post surgery were included and then randomized to either a single agent 5-FU leucovorin of 24 weeks given in 6 weeks on and 2 weeks off schedule, or a 25 weeks of tegafor And in this study, the overall survival was not different between the two arms. It was exactly the same. Now, these are the Kaplan-Meier graphs showing the overall survival results, and we can see that both the arms showed equally good results without any difference. And the difference was not in stage 2 as well as stage 3. The toxicity was also similar in both the arms, and the quality of life analysis, which was again published as a separate publication, also showed that there was no difference in the quality of life endpoints between the two regimes, although a convenience of care analysis favored tegafor. So what this study concluded was that the oral tegafor was similar in achieving DFS and OS when compared with intravenous weekly bolus 5-FU leucovorin schedule, and the two regimens were equitoxic and generally well tolerated. Coming to another publication of adjuvant chemotherapy with oral 5-FU leucovorin versus tegafor plus leucovorin in stage 3 colorectal cancer, So this was published in the European Journal of Cancer in 2014, and this study also showed that the hazard ratio of DFS as well as the hazard ratio of OS was not different in both the arms. So adjuvant tegafur-uracil was found to be non-inferior to standard 5-FU leucovorin in respect to DFS, and as an oral treatment option, tegafur-uracil with leucovorin was also included in the stage 3 cancer patients who have undergone a D2, D3 lymph node dissection. This is also another recent study which is published in the Clinical Colorectal Cancer, which compared adjuvant SOX protocol versus tegafur-uracil leucovorin single agent as a post-operative treatment in high-risk stage 3 colon cancers. So, in this study, it was a large study enrolling 966 patients with 480 odd patients in each arm, and in both the arms, in the 5-FU leucovorin, in the tegafur-uracil plus leucovorin arm, they received 5 cycles of adjuvant treatment, whereas in the other SOX arm, that is S1 plus oxaliplatin, they received 8 cycles of treatment. And let us look at the results. So these are the 3-year DFS rates, which was 60% odd in both the arms. So there was no difference in the disease-free survival in a doublet SOX regimen versus a UFT leucovorin regimen after 3 years in adjuvant treatment of stage 3 colorectal cancer patients. So this is a subgroup analysis, and we can see that in all the subgroups of patients, only in the highest subgroup risk of T4N2B, that is stage 3C, this was the only subgroup where the benefit of oxaliplatin plus S1 was found to be slightly higher than the UFT leucovorin. In rest of all the subgroups of patients, the disease-free survival was similar in both the arms. So what was concluded from this study is that the oxaliplatin-based regimens such as FOLFOX and CAPOX, they are widely used as global standards of adjuvant chemotherapy. Now S1, which is quite popularly used in the Southeast Asia as an alternative to capecitabine as an oral 5-FU drug, was found to be non-inferior to UFT leucovorin as adjuvant chemotherapy for stage 3 cancer. So SOX was reported to be, and also SOX was reported to be non-inferior to CAPOX. So in this study, they compared the SOX adjuvant treatment with single agent UFT with leucovorin, and what was shown is that SOX was not shown to be superior to UFT leucovorin in terms of DFS in patients of high risk stage 3 colon cancer. Now the results favored a SOX drug only in patients who had advanced disease associated with factors such as stage 3C, T4 disease and N2B disease. So what we can conclude is that in lower risk stage 3 colon cancer patients, a single agent UFT leucovorin probably can be an equally efficacious regimen. Now coming to some evidence on tegafur-uracil in maintenance treatment. So this is one of the studies where tegafur-uracil was tested as a maintenance therapy following intravenous 5-FU in stage 3 colon cancer. So this study included 47 patients who were treated with 6 cycles of 5-FU leucovorin, and there were 101 patients in another arm who received the 6 cycles of 5-FU leucovorin adjuvant treatment, followed by an additional 12 cycles of tegafur-uracil plus leucovorin in a 28-day schedule with a 7-day rest period. Now, after a median follow-up time of almost 5 years, the study showed that for stage 3 patients, the 3-year DFS rates were 80% for the maintenance UFT leucovorin group against 60% in the 5FU group only, which was significantly better. Here we can see in the Kaplan-Meier graph. So in the stage 2 patients as well as in the all patient group, the study did not show any difference between the UFT leucovorin maintenance versus no maintenance. But in the stage 3 patient, that is the higher risk category patient, there was a significant difference in the DFS when maintenance UFT was given. This is again showing the overall survival analysis, which followed the same DFS pattern as was shown earlier. So the conclusion was the addition of Tegafur-Uracil to 5FU was found significantly improving DFS. This is another study of monthly Tegafur-Uracil maintenance for increasing the relapse-free survival in stage 3 rectal cancer patients after they have received preoperative radiotherapy followed by a radical resection followed by 12 cycles of post-operative chemotherapy. Now in this study, this was a retrospective study, and in the 102 patients who were included for analysis, what was observed that the 3 years recurrence-free survival in the maintenance group was 85% as against 67% in the observation group, which was significantly improved. So what was concluded that the execution after the execution of fluorouracil based adjuvant chemotherapy administering more than 6 cycles of monthly Tegafur-Uracil was found to improve 3-year recurrence-free survival in stage 3 rectal cancer patients. Now coming to metastatic setting, let us look at some of the evidence of Tegafur-Uracil. Now the first usage of Tegafur-Uracil in metastatic colorectal cancer comes from these two studies which were published in JCO in 2002. Now in both these studies, Tegafur-Uracil in one arm was compared with 5FU leucovorin bolus doses in another arm. The only difference is that in the Dollard study, the 5FU leucovorin was used for 5 days and the cycle was repeated every 28 days, that is after 4 weeks. Whereas in the Carmichael study, the 5FU leucovorin was given for 5 days and the cycle was repeated after 5 weeks. So there was mild difference in the dose density and intensity in the comparator arm, whereas the Tegafur-Uracil arm had the same dosage as well as the same intensity. Now in the Dollard study, let us see what was the result. So this was the study schema, and as I said, Tegafur-Uracil was compared with 5FU leucovorin as a first line treatment in metastatic setting. And in both the arms, the results were very comparable. The median survival was 12.4 months in the Tegafur-Uracil arm compared to 13.4 months in the 5FU leucovorin arm. So there was no difference. The overall response rate also was not different in the two arms. So we can see that the overall survival curves are right sitting on top of each other. The median time to progression favored 5FU leucovorin, but the tumor assessment schedules were different in the two arms. And the toxicity was also comparable in both the arms, with 5FU leucovorin arm showing more neutropenia and more documented infections as compared to Tegafur-Uracil. Also, diarrhea, nausea and vomiting and stomatitis, mucositis were also less frequent with oral UFT as compared to the IV 5FU leucovorin. Similarly, in the Carmichael study also, the primary endpoint was time to progression and secondary endpoints were overall survival, quality of life, tumor response, safety. This is the same schema. And the results showed that there was no statistical difference in time to progression between the two arms. The median time to progression was 3.4 months in the Tegafuracil arm as compared to 3.3 months in the 5-FU leucovorin arm. There was also no difference in survival tumor response. So the results showed that there was substantial safety benefits with Tegafuracil. There were less stomatitis, mucositis, less myelosuppression, and fewer incidents of febrile neutropenia and less infections. With respect to quality of life also, there was no significant difference between the treatments for any scale except diarrhea. Now this is a combined analysis of both these studies, and we can see that there is absolutely no difference in the median overall survival between the two arms. These are the toxicity reporting in both these studies, and we can appreciate that the incidence of neutropenia was very significantly less in the Tegafuracil arm as compared to 5-FU leucovorin, and the non-hematologic toxicities were also significantly very less as compared to 5-FU leucovorin. So what we could conclude from these two studies is that Tegafuracil as an initial treatment for metastatic colorectal cancer produces equivalent survival to 5-FU leucovorin but has safety advantages in terms of reduction in myelosuppression, reduction in febrile neutropenia, reduced infection, less stomatitis, mucositis, less diarrhea, nausea, vomiting, and less concomitant medication use. This is another study where a patient preference for oral therapy was taken into account. So what they did was they randomized the patient to receive Tegafuracil in the first cycle and two patients who received IV 5-FU leucovorin in the first cycle, and for the second cycle they crossed the patients to other arms so that patients who received 5-FU leucovorin in the first cycle received Tegafuracil in the second cycle, whereas those patients who received Tegafuracil in the first cycle received 5-FU leucovorin IV in the second cycle. And then these patients were assessed to choose on what treatment arm would they want to continue. And what was found is that 84% of the patient preferred Tegafuracil at the end of the therapy. And what was the reason was that people wanted to take medication at home. They found less painful sores in the mouth. They did not find enough diarrhea in the Tegafuracil as compared to 5-FU. Because it was a pill medication, they had preferred Tegafuracil, and there was no interference in the daily activities when they were choosing Tegafuracil. So Tegafuracil was found to be more useful and more resource saving for these patients, and one of the key reasons was less hospitalization for the treatment of adverse events in Tegafuracil as compared to 5-FU leucovorin. Coming to other studies, so let us look at the combination therapies and what is the role of Tegafuracil in combination treatments. So this was one of the earlier phase 1 analysis, which is the SCOUT study, where they used UFT leucovorin plus oxaliplatin alternating with irinotecan in the cycles, so that they allotted patients to UFT leucovorin plus irinotecan in the first cycle and then giving them UFT leucovorin plus oxaliplatin in the second cycle, and so on. So this was a phase 1 study, and what was found in 38 evaluable patients was that the response rate to this schedule was 63%, the median time to progression was 8.7 months, and the median overall survival was 16.8 months. So they concluded that UFT plus leucovorin with alternating irinotecan and oxaliplatin was an efficacious first-line treatment for metastatic colorectal cancer with minimal neurotoxicity and hand-foot syndrome. Subsequently, we had another study which was published in the BJC on comparing Tegafuri, that is UFT plus leucovorin plus irinotecan versus UFT leucovorin plus oxaliplatin, that is Tegafox, as a first line treatment for metastatic colorectal cancer. So this is the response rates, and what we can say is that the overall response rate was almost 41% in the Tegafiri arm as compared to around 42% in the Tegafox arm, and these are the results of overall survival, and the overall survival was nearly 20 months in both the arms, as well as this is the PFS analysis, and the PFS analysis also shows that the PFS was 8 months in both the arms. This is another study of FOLFOX4 with cetuximab versus UFT oxaliplatin with cetuximab as the first line treatment in metastatic colorectal cancer, called as the FUTURE study. This was published in 2014 in Clinical Colorectal Cancer Journal. So in this study, patients were unselected but KRAS status, and in this unselected group, they had to curtail the study at 302 patients after it was reported to see the importance of KRAS mutations for cetuximab activity. So in the evaluable patients, the PFS was found to be significantly longer with FOLFOX with cetuximab as compared to UFT oxaliplatin with cetuximab, that is 8.2 months versus 6.6 months. The response rate was also higher in the FOLFOX arm as compared to UFT arm. However, what is more important to look at in this study was that the overall survival was comparable in both the arms. And in the KRAS wild type population, the efficacy outcomes were similar in the FOLFOX with cetuximab arm versus UFT oxaliplatin with cetuximab arm. This is another study of UFT combined with bevacizumab in the elderly patients more than 75 years of age. This was a phase 2 study which was published in Clinical Colorectal Cancer, known as the Japanese Blue study. So in this phase 2 study, there were 56 elderly patients who were chemo-naive who were taken, and in these group of patients, they received UFT leucovorin for 21 days followed by a 7 days gap with intravenous bevacizumab 5 mg per kg, and the treatment was repeated every 21 days. So the median progression-free survival was 8.2 months. And this is an interesting analysis where they did a cross-trial comparison of this trial with the other trials. So obviously, when we look at the efficacy outcomes, that is the response rates, PFS and OS, so in studies which had evaluated single agent UFT leucovorin, they were less. But when we look at the UFT leucovorin plus bevacizumab, comparing with capecitabine plus bevacizumab, what we can see that the response rate in the UFT bevacizumab study was 40% as against only 19% with Cape-Bev in the AVEX study. The median PFS in the study was 8.2 months compared to 9.1 months in the Cape-Bev study, which is also comparable, and the overall survival with UFT leucovorin plus bevacizumab was 23 months compared to 20.7 months with Cape-Bev, which is also very comparable. And what is also to be noticed is that the hand-foot syndrome in UFT bevacizumab was 0 as compared to 16 patients who had grade 3, grade 4 hand-foot syndrome in the Cape-Bev in the AVEX study. So this tells us that UFT plus bevacizumab is a very active regimen with comparable outcomes to Cape-Bev. Now look at this another study which has been recently published in the IJC, which was a phase 2 randomized study comparing Tegafiri, that is Tegafur-Uracil, with irinotecan against Folfiri in patients with unresectable or recurrent colorectal cancer. Bevacizumab was also added in both the arms equally. So these are the results, and we can see that the overall response rate with FOLFIRI was around 56% compared to 66% overall response rate with Tegafiri, which is quite similar without any significance. And when we look at the survival outcomes, so this is the PFS curve, which is showing no difference in both the arms. The median PFS was 10.6 months in the FOLFIRI arm as compared to 9.9 months in the Tegafiri arm. And the median overall survival was also not different, with 27.7 months in the FOLFIRI arm as compared to 26.7 months in the Tegafiri arm. When you look at the toxicities, what we can appreciate is that there is much less grade 3 neutropenia in the Tegafiri arm as compared to FOLFIRI. However, there was slightly higher diarrhea in Tegafiri as compared to FOLFIRI. So, what we can conclude from this study is that Tegafiri with bevacizumab is an effective and tolerable first-line regimen with almost equivalent outcomes to FOLFIRI plus bevacizumab. So, in metastatic colorectal cancer, what we can conclude is that Tegafur-Uracil is an active prodrug of 5-FU with good activity in metastatic colorectal cancer, both alone as well as in combination with oxaliplatin or irinotecan, as well as in combination with the biologicals. And what we can see is that hand-foot syndrome is very rare with Tegafur-Uracil as compared to capecitabine. Now, coming to studies of concurrent chemoradiation therapy, this is a study of stage 2, stage 3 rectal cancer where preoperative concurrent chemoradiation was used, with comparing weekly IV 5-FU against Tegafur-Uracil. So this was a prospective non-randomized study, and there were 30 patients with stage 2 or stage 3 rectal cancer who were enrolled. And these are the results. So the median survival was 36 months in the Tegafur-Uracil arm as against 30 months in the 5-FU leucovorin arm. The 2-year overall survival was 68% versus 66%, that is no significant difference. And the DFS was 55% versus 50%, again showing no significant difference. What was more important is that the grade 3 dermatitis, gastrointestinal toxicities and hematologic toxicities were more noted in the 5-FU leucovorin arm. So this is the 2-year survival curve showing equivalent outcomes in the UFT versus 5-FU leucovorin arm. And these are the DFS curves. The locoregional control was equivalent also in the two arms. And the metastasis-free survival was also similar in both the arms. So what can be concluded is that because of a similar survival rate and lower toxicity, oral Tegafur-Uracil with leucovorin is an alternative regimen to IV 5-FU leucovorin in post-operative chemoradiation or pre-operative chemoradiation in locally advanced rectal cancers. Also, there were studies and various case reports on the cardiotoxicity of 5-FU or capecitabine, and it was found that there is a 3% incidence average of severe cardiac toxicities because of the transient coronary vasospasm and patients presenting with angina, arrhythmia, congestive heart failure as well as myocardial infarction and cardiac arrests. But this incidence was almost 1% or less than 1% in the Tegafur-Uracil as compared to 5-FU leucovorin or capecitabine. Now, looking at the uses of Tegafur-Uracil beyond colorectal cancer, what we can see is that 5-FU leucovorin, that is Tegafur-Uracil, is a very popular adjuvant treatment for lung cancer patients. This was a randomized study where they compared 4 cycles of paclitaxel carboplatin adjuvant chemotherapy with oral tegafururacil for 2 years as adjuvant chemotherapy in non-small cell lung cancers. So stage 1A to stage 3 non-small cell lung cancer patients who were resected were included. The median follow-up time was 6.5 years, and it was a large study recruiting 402 patients with 201 patients in each arm. So the 5-year overall survival rate was 70% in the Pacli-Carbo arm as against 73% in the UFT arm, which is similar without any significant difference. However, the toxicities were much more frequent in the Pacli-Carbo arm as compared to UFT arm. This is another Lancet publication on a phase 3 adjuvant chemotherapy in patients with completely resected node-negative non-small cell lung cancer. Stage 1 patients as well as T2N0 patients were included, and 963 patients were included from multiple centers in Japan. And the 5-year OS and RFS rates were 88% and 79% in the UFT arm as opposed to similar outcomes in the S1 arm. So what was concluded is that post-operative adjuvant therapy with S1 was not found to be superior with that of UFT in node-negative non-small cell lung cancers. This is another meta-analysis on the post-operative UFT Tegafur-based chemotherapy versus post-operative radiotherapy for early-stage non-small cell lung cancer. And what was the conclusion? The UFT Tegafur-based post-operative chemotherapy is found to be superior to post-operative radiotherapy for improving overall survival in early-stage non-small cell lung cancers. This is one of the studies which is recently published in 2019 in nasopharyngeal cancer. So they evaluated oral tegafururacil as a maintenance metronomic therapy in patients of stage 4 nasopharyngeal cancers who had non-distant metastasis after they had received concurrent chemoradiotherapy. And by addition of UFT in these patients, the 5-year overall survival rates improved to 91% from 57%. There was a significant improvement in DFS and OS in patients in whom UFT was added to concurrent chemoradiation. Now there are various studies, and there is, for lack of time, I can't go through every studies, but there is evidence for use of Tegafur in advanced gastric cancer. And this another study which was presented in SABCS recently, where they found that oral Tegafururacil had similar outcomes to CMF regime in metastatic breast cancer patients, especially who had luminal subtype. So when we look at the uses of UFT other than colorectal cancer, we'll find the use in adjuvant therapy in non-small cell lung cancers, chemoradiation therapy in anal cancers as well as advanced anal cancers, in advanced nasopharyngeal cancers, head and neck cancers, metastatic breast cancers, advanced gastroesophageal cancers, as well as advanced hepatopancreatobiliary cancers and advanced hepatocellular cancers. Now let us look at the few guidelines. What do they say about Tegafururacil? So these are the NICE guidelines, and we can see that these guidelines endorse the use of Tegafururacil. They clearly state that oral therapy with either capecitabine or Tegafururacil is recommended as an option for first-line treatment of metastatic colorectal cancer. This was an old publication in 2003. And this is the newer guidelines, and we can see that they have recommended Tegafururacil as one of the treatment options in metastatic colorectal cancer. Looking at an Asian consensus on the international guidelines in metastatic colorectal cancer, again they have stated that the current NCCN guidelines are considered appropriate. But in addition, the panel recommended that UFT could be considered for post-operative adjuvant chemotherapy for resected lung or liver metastatic patients. As well as in for advanced and metastatic patients, the guidelines suggested that S1 or UFT can be used in centers that are inexperienced. Coming to the Japanese guidelines, so this is from the Japanese Society of for Cancer of Colon and Rectum. In 2016, we can see that they have included UFT with bevacizumab as one of the important options of treatment for both patients who are appropriate for intensive therapy as well as for patients who are not appropriate for intensive therapy. And even in 2019, when they had 2020, in the recent publication, the JSCCR guidelines, they have clearly shown that whenever fluoropyridine monotherapy is to be used, UFT leucovorin is there as an option, which is reimbursable in Japan as per the Japanese National Health Insurance Program is concerned. And for systemic therapy in metastatic cancers also, they have clearly stated UFT leucovorin plus bevacizumab as one of the treatment options. So what we can conclude from all these slides is that tegafururacil is a viable alternative to oral capecitabine or oral S1 or IV 5-FU leucovorin. It has a comparable efficacy but better safety profile. It may be preferable in patients at higher risk of toxicities, that is DPD mutants, patients who have elderly age, compromised renal function, those who have history of cardiotoxicity. And further, in this COVID era, UFT assumes more importance where focus is more towards safety and optimizing cancer care. And obviously, we need more well-designed phase 3 randomized studies directly comparing capecitabine and UFT, as well as exploring UFT in other conditions other than the colorectal and GI cancers, especially outside the South Asian countries, especially in Europe as well as America, in order to make this drug more popular. So I hereby conclude this presentation. Thank you. If there are any questions, I'll be happy to take them. So if there are any questions, I will be happy. Otherwise, let us conclude this program. Thank you. So Dr. Ghanshyam Biswas is there on from Bhubaneswar, and he's asked this question as what is the reason for so little trial on tegafururacil. So in my previous slide, sir, I had alluded to this question. So basically, tegafururacil is not available in America. And when we look at the way different guidelines and different trials have evolved, because it is not available in America, the earlier trials gave more preference to capecitabine rather than tegafururacil. Also, tegafururacil is a bit more costly to capecitabine. So I think these are the two reasons why Tegafur-Uracil couldn't actually was being utilized to its full potential in the trials. Although the toxicity profile, I think, favors the Tegafur-Uracil, and the efficacy probably is similar between capecitabine and Tegafur-Uracil, and it has been even shown in multiple trials. In Japan and in Korea, in China, as well as in Taiwan, people are more commonly using S1, and they have had studies comparing S1 and Tegafur-Uracil, and they have shown that the outcomes are equivalent. So just because the Western guidelines, especially the NCCN guidelines, they don't include Tegafur-Uracil, it is not available in America. I think probably that is the reason why there is little data and little evidence on Tegafur-Uracil. So, Dr. Ghanshyam Bishwas is also asking regarding the personal experience on efficacy and toxicity. So, we have used Tegafur-Uracil in almost 7 of our patients who have had severe cardiotoxicity on 5-FU leucovorin or capecitabine. And I must tell you, there were 3 patients probably in adjuvant setting, and there were 4 patients in metastatic setting. And all these 7 patients went on to tolerate Tegafur-Uracil very well, even after they had life-threatening cardiotoxicity on capecitabine 5-FU. Also, in a few elderly patients who are more than 75 years or 80 years, we have used Tegafur-Uracil as a single agent in adjuvant treatment, as well as there is also 2 patients where we have used Tegafur-Uracil in combination with oxaliplatin. One was the DPD mutant. So in all these patients, the Tegafur-Uracil was very nicely tolerated. There is some diarrhea as compared to capecitabine, probably a little less than capecitabine, but probably similar to capecitabine. There is some diarrhea, but it is quite manageable, more manageable as compared to capecitabine. You never get any hand-foot syndrome with 5-FU with Tegafur-Uracil, and the myelosuppression is also not there usually. So fatigue is there a bit, and diarrhea is probably one of the toxicities of Tegafur-Uracil that you need to take care of. Otherwise, it is much safer to capecitabine. And yes, I agree that probably the efficacy is similar, but we need multi-center collaborated good trial comparing UFT and capecitabine, and I think it can be proven in a phase 3 study. So, Dr. Ghanshyam Bishwas is saying that his experience has also been good. Any more questions from any of the participants? So yes, Dr. Ghanshyam is also feeling that we need to do trials, and I agree. My suggestion also to Lupin Oncology is to probably design a good phase 3 study or a phase 4 study on Tegafur-Uracil, so that we can have more robust data on Tegafur-Uracil. Okay, I think if there are no more questions, I'll leave you, adieu, and hope you all have a very good evening. Thank you. Stay home, stay safe, and we hope that this COVID pandemic could be over soon, so that we get back to our normal lives. Let us pray for this. Thank you, and a very good evening.